Hi. Doing a little different today. And we're doing, there's a dog today. Hold on. So we've got sort of this is happening here. This is sort of like what's going on that you should be aware of. What's going on? Huh? What's going on? Yeah. Putting you back now. Get in the tripod. Get in the what do you, come on, bro. Okay. Thank you. There are things that I want to talk to you about. Obviously there's a lot happening in the world right now. Like a lot happening in the world right now. I wrote some down. There's protests with counter protests. There's the parade Trump tried to put on that seemed to be pretty just lame. There's airplane crashes. There was the assassination. There's the really quickly escalating situation with Israel and Iran. Immigration raids. RFK fired basically all of the vaccine advisors because he's an anti-vaxxer. It's a lot. There's a lot happening, and it's really, really, really easy to get overwhelmed. And I want to talk about that a little bit, but also more broadly. I've written some stuff down that I want to share with you about how I approach the news and what I want to see from more people as it relates to just engaging with current events. The first thing I want to say is it is not your job to know everything. Hell, I literally do this for a job, and it's also not my job to know everything. I have a focus area, right? I generally focus on subsections of the entirety of everything that's happening, and I do that because I am a human being. I have limitations. Some of it's practical, I know what I can and can't really talk about intelligently, and some of it's just to keep me sane. But after years and years of basically just following current events constantly, I have learned that it's important to know when you need to actually step aside for a bit. I took a big break last year from October to January, and then I got sick. So February, do yourself a favor, build in those breaks where you can. It's okay to look away. It's not an abdication of morality. Because again, it's not your job. And reading headlines, just constantly scrolling and trying to stay on top of everything doesn't fix anything. You're probably feeling like you're trying to get more context, and the more context you can get, the better off you'll be to manage whatever is going on. It feels like it's helpful. It's not. Because honestly, most stories, most headlines are just the same thing restated with maybe a little bit more detail. And so I'm very frequently seeing people sharing headlines that are like, obvious thing that has been that way is still that way. And they're like, oh, isn't this terrible? And it's like, yeah, it's terrible. But the change in terrible, the cumulative terrible total hasn't changed. And yes, it remains terrible, but we're just reminding ourselves of that. And I don't think we've forgotten. I don't think we forgot, but it's definitely not sticking your head in the sand. Don't equate taking a week off from reading headlines with putting your head in the sand. So dovetailing here, I'm gonna take a dove and I'm gonna take its tail. Didn't have a joke there. But dovetailing into why I don't do breaking news videos. Don't come to me for breaking news. Don't do that. There's a reason that I post once a week, and there's a reason that I don't tend to post constant updates saying this happened and this happened. It's because that's a fast track to insanity. One, I do this by myself. I'm a one-man show. I do literally all of the collection, research, writing, editing, all of it. And so there's no practical way for me to stay on top of everything that's happening, produce these videos, do other things that I'm doing, have a life, and also bring accurate breaking news updates to people. And that is something that is a big deal, is the accuracy. Now, I don't like talking down about other creators, and I won't name any specific names, but I think it's really problematic when someone's whole platform is just trying to be first to post about something that's quote unquote breaking. Because it's more about the speed, the shock, the views, and the virality than it is about the information. People see a thing, they won't validate it, they'll just regurgitate it, it gets skewed, it gets misinterpreted, and then it just becomes fact for a bunch of people who just, in passing, happened to see some TikTok in which some person was like, breaking, this thing happened. And for all we know, every piece of information that just came out about said event is wrong. And that correction is never gonna get as many views. Stretchy Boi. My goodness, look at this flop. Come and get you back out of the, look at this. What am I supposed to do about that? I'll tell you what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to rub the belly. That's what I'm supposed to do. He's got a nice shaved patch right here from a vet visit recently. All right. Moving on. Keep it going, me. Get back in the tripod. All right. Hi, what's next? Let me get my pseudo script. It's not a fucking script. It's a bunch of bullet points. It's not really a script. Get overwhelmed. Glued to screen. Breaking news. Reading news. Okay, hey, here we go. I want to get into some strategy. I want to get into how I approach doing all of this. And I have a system. I will boil down and try to not include the parts that are super boring. First things first, I want to talk about news outlets and the media and mainstream media and all of that, because we don't have journalism without them. We just don't. Like, the machine is set up that way, and it's just how it is. And even with independent journalists who are doing some really amazing work right now, the big guys are still important. I lament that. I'm not happy about that, but to completely ignore anything that comes from mainstream media is to just turn your brain off from the entire world, basically. Instead, what you can do is understand these outlets and understand their bias as well as their format. Because there are some outlets that are going to be like fact-based reporting, which is the boring stuff. That's like Associated Press and Reuters, right? But then you're gonna have your newspapers, your news outlets, your New York Times or Wall Street journals, things in that class. Then there's scientific journals, which publish peer-reviewed science stuff. Research, that's what it's called. Science stuff. Then you've got things like opinion columns and blogs, and then primary sources, which are still deeply important, despite people seemingly not needing them anymore. I'm not gonna sit here and defend the New York Times, like I have no interest in doing that, but a lot of the things that people get upset about from these legacy media outlets are opinion columns. And I fully agree that they should not be platforming some of the people they're platforming in their opinion columns. And also, it doesn't erase the fact that a lot of these outlets are still doing incredible investigative journalism. So like writing them off entirely is dangerous. Now, there's an argument to be made that we shouldn't be financially supporting them, because then they turn around and platform terrible people. And agreed, still, that's getting into the whole ethical consumption under capitalism thing, and that's a whole different video. So I guess what I'm getting at is there's a huge difference between reading a publication and supporting or even trusting a publication. And so when I'm collecting stories, what I tend to do is I've got this big feed that I've built. It's just a big RSS feed that just aggregates a bunch of stuff from sources that I can generally trust to not outright lie to me about everything. And from there, I can get a sense of like, what are the trends that are happening? What are big headlines? What are clusters that a bunch of different people are talking about? And I can drill down and find what is the primary source that's creating all these reports. Are these articles that are just referencing other articles that reference another article that reference a report? I try to get a sense of where things are coming from. And it's really not even about like, oh, I want to just get a variety of opinions. It's not like I read CNN and then Fox News. I read neither because I don't like either as publications. But it's not about a diversity in politics. It's about gathering information to get the most complete version of the story possible. Because I'm not interested in getting my takes from these places. I'm interested in getting the information. And then as I get the information, I can check in with myself, my values, my morals, and the world at large to get a sense of what is really happening here, how do I really feel about it, and is it actually something that I should let emotionally affect me? Or is this more of just a thing that exists and by itself is neutral? And I really want to press people on that. Before you get upset the next time that you see something upsetting, check to see that it actually is upsetting, or if you're just predisposed to see those words in that order and feel shitty about it because of how frequently that happens. Ask yourself if the net shitty got shittier before you feel shitty. That's advice. The next thing I want to get at is verifying things. There was a very viral Craigslist post going around last week that was purporting to be an ad for seat fillers for Trump's parade. And everyone was like, see, this is proof that they're doing seat fillers or whatever. And that happens every time under every presidency. Like Biden, Obama, Trump's first term, they all get these. It's a joke. Someone goes in and makes a Craigslist account and makes a post that is usually supposed to be satire and then gets picked up and interpreted as real. But ask yourself, what does it take to make a Craigslist post? Because the answer is an email address. You just make an account on Craigslist and you can post whatever the hell you want. And that post did some serious destruction just from how many people took it at face value, despite being absurd. And like, yes, we live in absurd times. And the Craigslist post said that it was going to pay people with Trump's meme coin. And like, yes, of course you can imagine a reality where that's real. At the same time, remain skeptical. If it fits too good in your worldview and narrative and beliefs, it's worth questioning. So when you're taking in new information and when people are sending you information and sources, check the validity. Is this from a well-known outlet? Again, New York Times, for example. I'm not going to defend them, but they're well-known and they have a reputation that's on the line. They can be legally held accountable for bullshit. Sometimes, kind of. At least more so than a random person on Twitter who starts every post with breaking. Seriously, if someone posts all caps breaking, whatever, with no link to anything, just fully block them. And then the same goes for screenshots. Here's a screenshot of a thing. Do not assume it's real. Like never, ever. I see people reply to like a fake tweet being like, is this AI? I can't tell. And it's like, you don't need AI to make a fake tweet. They've been a thing forever, since tweets were a thing. Be discerning and don't fall into the trap of like seeing something that feels right and believing it, then finding out it's not real and then being like, oh, well, it's basically right, because it's not. And that's backsliding into accepting false narratives as a norm. And it might seem minor, right? Like why does that matter? What does it matter if I just feel a little bit better because of some stupid AI generated image that satisfies me? It's cynicism. And cynicism is cancerous. It's making an assumption, it's making a negative assumption and asserting that that's true even when you were wrong. And that is just a mental pattern that's dangerous to be left unchecked because you're letting yourself get away with that cynicism. Last part, I promise. Remember that it's words on a page, especially when you're reading an article or a headline or a flame war in the comments section. It's words on a page. Those words can suck. Those words can carry meaning that's really terrifying, but they are still words. Assess what they're doing and how they should affect you before letting them affect you. Let's say you see a comment chain that's just like unimaginably dumb, like someone's just being so ignorant. Very well could be a bot, very well could be a 12-year-old. I've gotten heated in responding to comments in my own videos, where I then later found out the person I'm arguing with is literally 12. And that is why they didn't understand anything about anything. So before you take everything as like, I saw this thing and that must be a real sentiment that a real person genuinely had, recall that it's more likely to be trolls, bots, children, morons, or all of the above, or me just having another bad take. Put a barrier between those words and yourself, and more importantly, separate your personal sense of self from your political beliefs. Someone angrily railing at a policy that you are a fan of should not be taken as a direct insult. And very frequently it is, because it feels like they're attacking a core part of you and your character because you support this concept. Take a step back from the political policies and concepts and instead focus on your values and morals. The baseline concepts in your heart that help make determinations about your outlooks and beliefs. Instead of saying, I want Medicare for all, say, I believe healthcare is a human right. And from there, figure out, while you're navigating any given situation, what gets you the closest to that. And if someone says universal healthcare is dumb, you're not universal healthcare. And your beliefs aren't universal healthcare. Your beliefs are, I want people to be healthy and taken care of. The point being, know where you actually stake your claim, know where you actually put yourself. Separating these can make it a lot easier to navigate political discussions that are incredibly difficult most of the time. And it also makes you feel a lot more confident in where you're coming from, because you are coming from a place of core values that you've reflected on and focused on and built up over the years. But on top of everything, remember, it is not your job to know everything, and it is not your job to fix everything. No one human being can do that. Do not hold yourself to that requirement. I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know if I should do more of this kind of stuff. I didn't really have time to go through and put together a full newsletter, so I figured something like this could be a good alternative. But I very much appreciate your time. I would very much appreciate it if you liked this video to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff. If you like what I do, you want more of my content, you want some behind the scenes, you want some direct access stuff, you can check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Endeavorance. And if you want to support me, maybe get yourself a hello shirt, you can head to merchfrom.dev. There's all sorts of stuff there. Thank you so much. Take care. Be well. See you Monday. Bye-bye.